Their Majesties would invite into their court Richard le Hauke.
In the north, there are legends. Some legends are larger than others. Some men are taller than others. Some men are larger than others. Here enters now Lord Richard le Hauke, companion of the Silver Crescent, companion of the Golden Mantle, recipient of the Blue Tiger Legion, Order of the White Gate, Order of the Furosin, Order of the Millstone, Man-at-Arms to Master Padre McInerney, Freeholder of River Keep, Sergeant of Arms in the Northern Army, Steward of Victory Pudding, and Purveyor of Morning Coffee, winner of House Strangeways, Harry Chester. East Kingdom Deputy Earl Marshal for Siege, Co-Chief of Staff, and Head Retainer for the Barony of Stonemarche. Marshal for a market day at Burka. Wrote and maintains the scoring system for fencing and heavy list for Burka. Marshal in charge and Deputy Marshal in charge for siege activities at Penzing. Co-Feastocrat at the Crown Tourney of Edward III and Thyra II. Feastocrat and Co-Feastocrat at Harper's Retreat. And also the helper outer at most of the events he attends, because he just can't sit still.
Richard, we asked you to contemplate a question at Great Northeastern Board, and we would have some speakers give you the last bit of advice on that question if you will join the Order of the Pelican. So, someone call the next? Yeah. Chill.
Is there a member of the Order of Chivalry that will speak for this candidate?
I will, Your Majesty. Of your leave. Talk of warriors, talk of a stalwart warrior. Warrior rises at 6. Make sure the coffee's on for the camp. Then gets ready for the field himself. Make sure breakfast is served. Then he goes put his armor on. Then we go out to the field. In the meantime, he's already organized lunch and dinner. That is a stalwart warrior. That is a man who serves the army in many ways, with his body, with his spirit. And for that, I commend him to you.
Is there a member of the Order of the Laurel who would speak for this candidate?
There is, Your Majesties. We are Master Tiberius Julius Rufus Primus.
And Master Harold von Auerbach.
And we will speak to this candidate's army. This man is so amazing, he gets not one, but 2 laurels. So, I shall speak of this candidate. You've heard of his work, but I must speak about the way he conducts his work. You've had his food, you've had his coffee. You understand that before we understand we have a need, he's there filling that need before we understand it's present. And that takes the mind of an artist. It's knowing not only is there a recipe for something, but sometimes that recipe needs to be altered to the needs of the populace. That the palate of me is not the same as the palate of you. And so le Hauke understands us, and he's there to serve in a way that makes us all whole and better, and we don't even notice it sometimes. But when he's not there, we definitely know it's missing. And so his artistry in cooking cares for us, and it's a way of doing service in a way that we understand his grace, his attention to detail, the way he times himself. And so for that, I commend him.
Your Majesties, I would speak for Lord Richard because the Order of the Laurel is for arts and sciences. You've heard of his artistry. I would speak to his skill in science. Here is a master of siege weaponry. When you want to conquer an army that's attacking you from across the field, before the archers can reach you, who do you turn to? Someone who can manufacture and operate a smooth-running siege weapon that can outdistance the archers. This man does that. And they are smooth-running, they are beautiful, so it falls into the artistry as well. But I would speak to his science. And your majesties, yes, this man is my peer.
So your majesties, for coffee, for food, for work is love made real, for science and the artful creation of violence over distance, we must commend this man to you.
Yes.
Just throw that one away. Come out at some point.
Is there a member of the Order of the Rose that would speak for this candidate?
Your Majesties, I am Duchess Þóra Eiriksdottir. I would be delighted to speak for this candidate. Yay, please.
I would.
So the SCA is full of volunteers. The events could not run without volunteers. Some of you might be volunteers. Perhaps. So, as Master Tiberius mentioned, what distinguishes the peerage is the way in which one helps. And for the roses, that is their comportment, their demeanor. So it is not just that this candidate cooks bacon at Penzig and gives it to others, but he gives it to the Cooper staff that is working 24 hours a day at the gates. And they fight for those shifts when they know he'll be cooking bacon. It is not just that he takes on the work of being Siege Marshal 1 at Penzig, but that he can politely tell some royalty that no, they may not change the rules at this stage. Purely for demonstrational purposes. It is not just that he is a rock for Stonemarche, that he is reliable and competent, but that he's willing to do so while wearing a bright pink tunic, because it will make people feel better in dark times. And the Burke attorney simply could not run without him. And I will quote the person who was explaining it to me, that watching the fighters descend upon him in a sweaty, exhausted mob, and watching him placate them that no, he does not have their rankings just yet, and they will have to wait a few days, is, in her words, a dance and a half. And you all know how I feel about dancing. So your majesties, this candidate's help is done with a lightness of heart and a generosity of spirit. And I don't really need to tell you all of his good qualities. But I am very pleased in your decision today. Thank you.
Is there a Master of Defense who would speak for this candidate?
Your Majesties,
Oh, yeah.
claim that honor. When it comes to Richard and perseverance, where do we start? Perhaps we start on the fields, where he sacrifices his time to make sure that fighters, siege engineers, and anybody will have time to have fun while he makes sure that he's marshaling and allowing that activity to happen. But that's just the start. Let's talk about herding cats. Wait, did I say cats? I meant fighters. And by fighters, I meant burqa. Alright, so we get fighters and fencers and wrestling with computer programming to set up a system where we can easily track the skill and prowess of the fighters of the East, fighters and fencers of the East. Then maintains a website that we can go back and go like, oh, look how I did this year. Wait, look how I did the next year. And the year after that. Persevering to make sure that we can see how we've done and we get to play the game we want to play and see how we can progress. And yet more. Now we have Harpers. And I have cooked professionally. I know jumping into a kitchen with equipment that's used throughout the year in a camp that may not be maintained and coming in and being like, I'm going to throw a feast together for all these people and make it taste really good and be on time. Yeah, that is a perseverance in itself. But to do that once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times this year, and keep coming back with a smile on his face and just the happiness he comes out and shows to everybody, because he perseveres to make sure that we have a good time and that we experience the dream. Your Majesties, I cannot more heartily express that this man is my peer and recommend him.
Thank you, Lucien.
Is there a member of the Order of the Pelican that will speak for this candidate?
Aye, Your Majesty, there is. Your Majesties, I'm a member of the Middle Kingdom, a member of the Order of the Pelican of the Middle Kingdom, and I am here to speak on behalf of this candidate. I am a child, however, of the East Kingdom. I am one of the founders of Concordia from way back in the day. So this still is my home kingdom in many, many ways, although I have lived in the middle for many years. My lords, ladies, your majesties, service is something that some people say cannot be taught. I disagree. It can be taught. Some people say service is an innate quality of a human being, that they are born to serve or that they know how to serve. That is not so. Some people need to learn the art of giving service. Those of us in the Order of the Pelican who have served in such a fashion need to learn the various skills, the strengths of ourselves, the strengths and quality of what service is and how it is done. We also need to know our limitations, how we are limited and by what, and know when to say no to something that we should not be doing for the sake of our own good. Those of us who have served in various roles within the SCA know this quality very well. Your Majesty, as I say to you, this man has shown these qualities of service for as long as I have known him. He has shown other people, by example, the qualities of service to follow. He teaches the quality of service, the required of his peerage, or to be a peer, by the dint of his own actions. Your Majesties, I could not more highly recommend this man to become a member of the Order of the Pelican, and hence my brother, once and for all.
Yes, you don't like Majesty hates my visual advice, so be glad you missed this. Take the ball, take the ball, Jim. Let me give you this first, go downstairs sideways. Otherwise you fall. Every visual. But also, we have the opportunity in this position. There is a people who appears to be saints.
Their Majesties would have their Order of the Pelican.
And those visitors. Hey, bud. Good chair, good chair. Get the chair. Let's start with a what?
Oh my god. Wow.
All right. No, you'll find that later.
Two.
Two.
Divided by the people and myself. I will go lead, and then we'll invite Mr. Stocky.
Oh wow.
The second, divided by the people.
You know, in case anyone loses it. And we have cap.
Cap of maintenance.
How about you, Rich?
There he is.
There's more. So, in honor.
We, Osir and Fortune,
Hear your words and know them to be true.
and to you and yours, we offer the protections that we may to all the rights, customs, and traditions of these Eastern crowns.
Until the crowns pass from our heads, our lives end, and the world cease to be.
Attend the words of Osir and Fortune, King and Queen of the East. We are most pleased with the efforts of our good subject, Richard the Hawke. For many years, he has shared his expertise and enthusiasm for the art of siege. He has worked diligently to further and grow said art. Richard has also laid siege to hunger and has taken charge of the kitchens, to our great satisfaction and acclaim. Bowing to such universal acclaim, we therefore and hereby welcome him into the Order of the Pelican, done this final day of August in Harper's retreat in our Barony of Stonemarche. Scroll by Ellen Elspeth of Eiriksdottir. For Richard, the newest member of the Order of the Pelican,
Viva!